I've beaten some of the most difficult hardcore Nuzlockes like Emerald Kaizo and Radical Red, and in my quest to conquer the most insane Pokemon challenges, I discovered a new game that could satisfy my appetite and bloodlust for only the hardest of games. Crystal Kaizo Plus is an uber difficult ROM hack that transforms the weird and bare Gen 2 experience into an incredibly enjoyable ride. Since this is a Generation 2 ROM hack, you won't be seeing features like abilities, natures, double battles, or the physical special split. To make up for this, the game implements polished quality of life features like a portable PC, modern box system, toggleable repel, infinite use rare candies, buffed stats and moves, and so much more. Double battles are replaced by insane back-to-back fights with no chance to heal and long, brutal gauntlets with no team changing between battles. The game progressively ramps up the difficulty with 16 gym leaders, 2 Elite Fours, and an unforgettable final boss fight. I never had a choice but to face this challenge with the Hardcore Nuzlocke Rules you can see on the screen now and in the description below. This is my first attempt of a Hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Crystal Kaizo Plus. If you liked this video, don't forget to slam that subscribe button and leave a comment on what you want to see next. The starter Pokemon choice is a pretty complex affair that will have a noticeable impact on your encounter routing. Cyndaquil gives you guaranteed access to early Headbutt for more encounter options. Chikorita offers long-term consistency in exchange for a possibly tougher Falkner fight, and Totodile grants a solid answer to Whitney while learning Headbutt the latest. Chikorita is incredibly strong in this game, so I decided to pick it up for the rare chance to use this adorable Pokemon when it's actually relevant. Every encounter has different tables based on day, night, and morning. Routing your early encounters around Headbutt tables is incredibly important, as you can essentially guarantee some very powerful Pokemon with proper planning. Routing changes dramatically based on your starter choice. Route 46 offers a high chance to pick up another starter as well. Since the starters have low catch rates, I go for Route 30 at night for a chance at a Hypnosis user like Hoot Hoot or Poliwag. I managed to pick up a Hoot Hoot on 30 and head over to 46 to catch a great addition of Totodile, which will help with Whitney later on. With average encounters, the early route trainers on the path to Violet City are pretty manageable, with one notable threat to give you a taste of the Crystal Kaizo Plus experience. Youngster Joey has a Sentret with only the move Rollout. If you let this demon get going for 2+ turns, you're likely wiping. The gimmick is that Rollout only has 1 PP in this game. You can try to strong arm it and kill it before it kills you, or, if you have the option, you can sleep or paralyze it to shut it down completely and force it to struggle. My Hoot Hoot hits the clutch hypnosis and cashes out. On Route 31, I pick up a Mareep, which is huge for clipping Falkner's wings, and I head to Dark Cave for another important decision. Larvitar is in late to end game essential, while Piloswine is buffed to Mamoswine stats, and Donphan is a sturdy ground type with early Headbutt access. I go for the morning encounter to maximize my chances at Larvitar, and I pull a Rhyhorn, which is still super solid. Making it to Violet City unlocks several more encounters before taking on the mandatory Sprout Tower. You probably want an Aipom from Sprout Tower, as it's buffed to Ambipom stats. To optimize chances, I hit Route 46 first for a chance at Vulpix to get some dupe value. The elusive 4% Nidoran female makes an appearance, making for a high value pick. The Ruins of Alph get you a guaranteed fossil, and I go nighttime to catch a Kabuto, which styles on much of the early game splits. Beware of Psychic Nathan though, who's lurking at the lower gate and has a level 15 Smoochum and level 16 Magby that will almost always wipe an average party at this point. The only reason to even attempt this fight is to unlock Route 32 early before Falkner, if you're really desperate for a Mareep. I don't land my Aipom from Sprout Tower, and I instead get a Vulpix, which is still great due to getting Ninetales pretty early on. Sprout Tower features a sprawling labyrinth and the first tough fights of the game. Notable threats include Sage Chow with its coverage Demon Abra, and Curse Eevee, and the mini-boss of the split, Sage Lee. You're almost always risking some sort of crit or status against his Elekid, so you kinda have to just clutch up and pray. Sunflora and Sudowoodo in the back aren't as scary, but you still have to navigate them carefully. I've seen the Sudowoodo claim plenty of souls against other runners. There's only 2 trainers in the first gym guarding the way to Falkner. While Birdkeeper Abe's Doduo and Birdkeeper Rod's Zubat can cause some issues, Kabuto more or less wipes the floor with them. Now, it's time for the first gym leader of Crystal Kaizo Plus. This ain't Vanilla Crystal anymore, so you can bet that Johto gym leaders actually use Johto Pokemon. Falkner has a stacked team of Murkrow, Mantine, Gligar, Togetic, Pidgeotto, and Noctowl. I lead with Flaffy to get a level up and switch into Hoot Hoot for free on the Nightshade. Oh, come on, man. All right, we have to hit this. Murkrow slams my owl with a crit peck, and I miss Hypnosis. All right, let's steer, baby. Turn 1, and I'm already putting on the driving gloves to steer. I try again, and manage to put the crow to sleep and bring in Rhyhorn to finish it off. Croconaw shrugs off a steel wing and softens up Gligar, for Kabuto to come in and clean up. Next is the simultaneously scariest and most exciting part of this fight. Togetic has 2 moves, Metronome and Soft Boiled. You just gotta roll the dice and pray to your gods here. Here comes the Metronome. Easy! Alright, Berry Juice coming in. Togetic flops and pulls out a Swift and a Substitute. Kabuto laughs in its face and sends it back to the craps table. Noctowl seems like a threat on paper, but a pre-poisoned Bayleaf styles on it as it can't Hypnosis and will just spam Nightshade. I get up Poison Powder and spam Synthesis until I can swap Hoot Hoot into a Nightshade Soak as Noctowl perishes from the poison. Mantine's special defense is too bulky to one-shot with a 4 times super effective Spark from Flaffy, so I whittle it down with Croconaw first before sending the sheep to kill it off. Finally, we have Pidgeotto. It sees Razor Wind as highest damage, so it selects it, which means it takes 1 turn to charge before it can attack. Flaffy lands a timely Paralyze with Spark, giving me speed control to Spark again before it lets Razor Wind rip. Where's the difficulty, man? I thought this was... Is this Crystal Kaizo? I think I may have loaded up Vanilla on accident, dude. Zephyr Badge bagged, no casualties. Beating Falkner and unlocking the Bugsy level cap gives me access to Headbutt on Bayleaf. I take a quick detour to catch a Spinarak on Route 29 and a Spearow from Violet City. Spearow will prove incredibly important once we get to the second gym. Next, I hit up Route 32 in hopes of finding a Wooper, but fate hands me an Oddish. With Generation 2 lacking double battles, Crystal Kaizo Plus has a unique way of filling this gap. Route 32 presents a taste of this game's gauntlets. Your team building is put to the test, and once you pass the point of no return, you can't change your team or access the mobile PC until the end. You can only heal your Pokemon and change held items between battles. That's it. I decide to bring Noctowl, Bayleaf, Kabuto, Croconaw, Flaffy, and Rhyhorn for a balanced party that can cover each other well. You can start the gauntlet with your party at level 22, so it's really not that bad, and just serves as an appetizer to wet your whistle for what's to come. The first notable threat is Fisher Henry's Quillfish, which will pick up kills on most of my party if it lands any crits. I pivot Rhyhorn on Sludge to get Noctowl in for some chip damage with Psybeam, landing a clutch Confuse. I pivot Rhyhorn again to get Croconaw in on Bubble Beam and crunch it down. I pivot Kabuto into Flaffy to beat Poliwag and win the fight. The next threat is Youngster Gordon, with his annoying Clefairy and Chansey with RNG moves like Dizzy Punch, Thunder Wave, and Attract. Kabuto puts Snubble down with submissions, Flaffy Thunder Waves and chips Clefairy for Kabuto to come back in and finish, and Bayleaf poisons Chansey to soften its healing capability for Rhyhorn to wall and ball out. Reaching the end of the gauntlet nets me the Old Rod, and I go snag a Krabby from Cherry Grove Town and a Slowpoke at the start of Union Cave. Union Cave gives us our first taste of this game's nasty bag of tricks like focus bands and self-destructing Pokemon that are awkward to play around. I mistakenly run into Pokemaniac Andrew after forgetting to heal my party beforehand. Wait, I didn't heal Flaffy? Oh, dude, I didn't heal my team at all. Oh my god, I threw so hard. I didn't even heal. Okay, nice. We hit the flash. Good. Okay, so it's -1 accuracy and it's paralyzed. This just got a lot better. Gloom unfortunately catches a stray crit, resulting in the first death of the run. Union Cave is otherwise mostly a breeze up until the demon mini-boss at the end, with a Lickitung, Furret, and Smeargle. Flaffy Thunder Waves Lickitung to prime it for a Rhyhorn railing, Slowpoke outbulks and outdamages Smeargle, and Bayleaf outlasts Furret thanks to Synthesis healing. This fight goes pretty well overall. Making it out of the cave and seeing the sun again means it's time for more encounters. I advance my headbutt list with a Beedrill on Route 33, a Letty buff from Azalea Town, and an insanely cracked Ghastly in Ilex Forest. Ghastly is just a 5% chance to encounter here, and ghosts are incredibly rare in Generation 2. This Pokemon unlocks some unique options and plays later on. This is huge. Before we can have a go at the second badge, we have to deal with Team Rocket and the Slowpoke well. This is the first part of the run where my skills are really put to the test, and I feel like I could genuinely wipe. The first grunt is just a warm-up, with Flaffy zapping Houndour and Beedrill impaling Drowsy with Twin Needles. The next grunt is where things get really bad. Ghastly hits like a truck and requires a paralyze and team effort to beat. Sneasel gets a 1 in 10 chance attack boost after landing its first hit with Metal Claw. It starts tearing through my team, and I have to pivot around carefully, chipping it down when I can. Noctowl dies in the process, but what if I told you it gets even worse? The next grunt has a Dratini with Dragon Rage, which does a static 40 damage. A pretty devastating amount this early into the game. I lose both Ariados and Beedrill taking this little monster down. I start to panic a bit after the losses, but I have to shake it off and press on, as we have a brutal back-to-back fight next. The Rocket Grunt boss at the end of the well has a Kadabra that I have no safe answers for now that Beedrill's dead. I end up risking a crit on Haunter and using 2 licks to get the kill. A hard-hitting Raticate is up next, and I fail my attempt to Thunder Wave it as Flaffy gets flinched. All-reliable Kabuto is able to clean up the rat, and Rhyhorn bodies coughing. Since this is a back-to-back into the next fight, I can't change my team. Our wholesome rival jumps me as soon as I leave Kurt's house and starts with a Ditto. I lead with my Flaffy to let it transform into it, making it free food for Rhyhorn. Mr. Mime is next, and this monster has insane stats for this point. Rhyhorn risks a crit and clutches up to clap back with a fatty magnitude 10 to one-shot. Oh. Let's go. If nobody got me, Rhyhorn got me. Woo! That's so big. That is insanely good. Quilava surprisingly ends up being pretty free with a tag team effort from Croconaw and Kabuto safely claiming. Assuming you managed to pick up a Spearow by now, Bugsy's gym trainers feel pretty trivial. As long as you enter the gym with Fearow at level 24 or lower, it can almost always tear through a huge chunk of the Pokemon in here, with the rest of your party picking up the pieces comfortably. Nothing too notable as far as gym trainer fights before Bugsy. Bugsy's biggest threats are Dunsparce and Pinsir. Dunsparce will make you believe it still has Serene Grace in this game with no abilities, and Pinsir hits hard and fast, with most checks having to risk crits. Ariados is also a sleeper threat, and people often overlook it. I lead Kabuto to get a level up and bait Giga Drain into Fearow for a safe switch. Fearow one-taps Butterfree, bringing out Dunsparce. The AI typically thirsts for speed control if it doesn't see a kill, so I hard read the Dunsparce's glare, getting in my pre-poison Bayleaf for free. Bayleaf is typically saved to deal with Shuckle, but since I have a different answer to that, I use Bayleaf for Dunsparce. The name of the game is the setup Poison Powder. Fire off attacks when you have an opening, and synthesis up to stay healthy. Even a single headbutt crit would be brutal here, but Bayleaf holds. Ariados is next, and I execute a 3-way pivot into Nidoqueen to eat Sludge, then into Slowpoke to tank Psychic, and finally into Fearow on Giga Drain. 2 wing attacks later, and it's Shuckle time. Shuckle always inflicts Toxic, sets up Sandstorm, then traps you with Wrap. This is a massive amount of residual damage, ticking each turn, but I have the secret weapon. Haunter is immune to Toxic and Wrap, and Nightshade's static damage is perfect to break through Shuckle's immense bulk. Yeah, Haunter is cracked for Shuckle, man. This thing is great. Yeah, Shuckle looks mad. I'd be mad too if I couldn't do anything here. Pinsir then fires off Rock Slide, and Nidorina comes in to chip Pinsir before switching Fearow safely into Seismic Toss to finish. Finally, we have Scyther, who's threatening on paper, but also folds like paper. Kabuto can just switch in on Wing Attack and retaliate to Steel Wing with a 4x super effective Rock Slide. And that's Deathless Bugsy. Let's go. We're popping off. Attempt 1 Dream stays alive. Dodging crits on Dunsparce is massive. Battle Armor Bayleaf came in, because even 1 crit made that really awkward. We dodged some stuff there, but I'm pretty happy with that. With 2 badges in the tank, we are on to the Whitney split. The first trainer of this next split is super free, in theory. An average Fearow at level 28 or so simply one-taps the entire team with no risks. Drunk off hubris after the Deathless Bugsy victory, I underprepare and run into Bugcatcher Wayne, not realizing my party is under-leveled. Wait, I was supposed to lead with Fearow. Alright, how do we get Fearow in? What's Beedrill doing here? Wait, I don't even have Fearow. Wait, hold up, dude. I didn't even realize I don't have Fearow. Alright. Oh, shoot, this is kind of bad then, huh? The cherry on top of the disaster sundae was coming to the realization I didn't even bring Fearow. I desperately do anything I can to keep the run alive, but it starts looking pretty hopeless. So if I para this, can I outspeed and kill with Kabuto or something? Yeah. So I think I need to get that para. Yeah, I think I risk crit on Flaffy and try to get the para here. After carefully considering my options, I have to play to my outs. I use Flaffy to paralyze the big threats for my team in the back and slow them down. As I pivot around, desperately trying to recover, I lose Kabuto and Kingler. Kabuto in particular is a devastating loss. These are two of the most important Pokemon in the split, so I'm feeling pretty bad even after I clutch out the win, somehow. In an almost poetic way, my Route 34 encounter rolls an S-tier pickup, Big Slugma. You get Magcargo at level 30, and its bulk, typing, and access to recover and flamethrower make it a massive standout for Whitney's gym and the entire split. Feeling a second wind, I prepare for the first brutal triple back-to-back-to-back of the game. Pushing some of your Pokemon to the level cap is not at all uncommon here, so EXP management is something you have to be really careful with. I decide to bring Bayleaf, Rhyhorn, Croconaw, Ampharos, Fearow, and Nidoqueen. Bayleaf gets us started just right by getting crit on the first turn by Staryu's Aurora Beam. This is okay though, as the Giga Drain KO grants back a fat stack of HP. Fearow wing attacks Weepinbell, and Azumarill comes out last to get Thunder Punched by Ampharos. Trainer 2 leads with Ponyta, who gets handled by Croconaw. Fearow pops off in one-tap Skiploom and chains the Pikachu in the back with a beefy tri-attack. For the final trainer, Nidoqueen puts her daughter in timeout, Ampharos sparks Dratini several times, and Bayleaf finishes off the gauntlet with a Giga Drain into Corsola. This just marks the beginning of an overall difficulty spike in this game, as we inch closer and closer to the iconic gym leader and her pink Devil Cow. There's immediately another back-to-back fight featuring all the second stage Gen 1 and Gen 2 starters. Fearow one-and-dones Ivysaur with Wing Attack. Nidoqueen eats up Charmeleon with 2 Sludges, and Slowpoke pivots into Wartortle's Waterfall to bait a puny bite into Ampharos. Ampharos sparks Wartortle for the kill, perfectly baiting Dig out of Sandslash so I can get Bayleaf in nice and comfy to Giga Drain. Fearow swaps to Slowpoke to eat Ice Punch, baiting Crunch into Ampharos so I can kill without risking getting frozen. Magcargo tanks a Fire Punch and a Thunder Punch from Quilava before retaliating with a Rock Slide. Nidoqueen soaks the next Thunder Punch and outspeeds with a Sludge. Finally, I pivot through Slowpoke to get Fearow in safely on Bayleaf's Giga Drain and Wing Attack for the win. After cleaning up the rest of the route trainers, I arrive at Goldenrod City. You can buy Evolution Stones and unlimited Elemental Punch TMs at the department store, so I make a quick shopping trip. Next, I head to the radio tower since it's marked as an encounter location with no actual encounters, so this is a free egg hatch. I crack open my Togepi egg for a very important Encore user in Togetic. Encore users are very rare in this game, with Togetic and Ledian being the premier standouts. To progress any further, we have to traverse the Goldenrod Underground. The trainers down here are very tough, and of course there's a back-to-back. The real demon though is Super Nerd Eric with a very tricky gimmick to his team. Notice that each of Eric's Pokemon have self-destruct in their movesets. If the AI is at full health and doesn't see a kill with any moves, it has about a 10% chance to blow up, with this chance increasing as its health gets lower. Playing around this deadly risk is awkward, so I have to fight Cheese with Cheese. I lead Haunter, who's always dead to Earthquake. This gives me a free switch to Togetic, who can outspeed and lock Sudowoodo into this move with Encore. My plan was the Seismic Toss to trigger a chance for the AI to swap into Haunter, and then alternate with Thunder Waves to try and catch Haunter with a Thunder Wave and make it more manageable. In this game, after the AI hasn't dealt damage for 4 turns, it will start selecting random moves. The AI doesn't take my bait, however, and I have 2 turns left before random moves start. So I need to take my openings to kill Sudowoodo ASAP and forfeit my Thunder Waves into Haunter. My gut is telling me the Seismic Toss here. What? Oh, he actually did it. Oh, all right. I just got sauced on so hard, dude. I just got absolutely sauced up. Finally decides to switch, and I'm forced to go into Magcargo, who can handle Haunter well as long as it dodges crits. The big lava snail gets the job done, and Sudowoodo comes back to get wrecked by Croconaw. Finally, the Geodude only has self-destruct, so I swap into Haunter for a free cookie. I work the final underground trainer and make it safely to Whitney's gym. But the horrors that lie ahead are the polar opposite of safe. This time, we're dealing with 2 separate back-to-backs that have ended many runners' attempts before even getting a shot at Whitney. Some even consider these fights harder than Whitney herself. For the first back-to-back, Haunter is immune to Furret's strongest moves and ice punches it several times. Nidoqueen exchanges blows with Flaffy, comfortably winning it out. Next, Ninetales chips Lickitung with Flamethrower. Then once rollout starts, it swaps over to Nidoqueen to eat up the rollouts and double kick it right in the tongue. Gloom is last, and Ninetales eats a Giga Drain and finishes with Flamethrower. Samantha's lead is a Seaking who wants to surf into Haunter. I go Big Gator and eat body slams as I submission the Goldfish down just enough for Haunter to come back on a body slam and kill with Thunder Punch. Samantha's Ninetales bites into Magcargo, and I cycle between recovers and rock slides until I win the matchup. Magcargo then prepares Togetic so Ampharos could swap in and have a guaranteed kill with Thunder Punch. Knowing Togetic would always Seismic Toss Ampharos, the plan executes, and the Xatu at the end never sees a kill even if it max rolls with a crit. I Thunder Punch again and claim victory over back-to-back number 1. So far, so good. The next back-to-back gives us the first exposure to a quirky little item that is unique to Gen 2, so most people don't even know it exists. Let me introduce you to the Berserk Gene. This obscure item was originally found only in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, hidden in the waters outside of Cerulean Cave as a not-so-subtle reference to Mewtwo. Upon entering battle, a Pokemon holding this item will become confused and gain +2 attack. It's essentially a self-swagger. We'll start seeing plenty of these later in the game. The lead Meowth activates its Berserk Gene, but Fearow one-shots before it can cook. Next up is Teddiursa, also proccing a Berserk Gene. Nidoqueen takes a Rock Slide and hits a clutch Body Slam Paralyze into full Paralyze proc. Teddiursa will always kill here if Slash crits, and Slash is a high crit chance move. The full Paraproc saves me from disaster, and Nidoqueen is able to double kick for the win. I swap in the Bayleaf on the waterfall to kill Corsola with Giga Drain. Nidoqueen then pivots into Sunflora's Sludge Bomb to bait Giga Drain into Fearow, and I end the fight with a Wing Attack. Time for part 2 of Back-to-Back 2. Magcargo switches easily into Wigglytuff's Ice Beam, and we run up the old Recover, Flamethrower, Rinse and Repeat until Wiggly is done. Ampharos holds strong into Azumarill's Waterfalls and Thunder Punches twice, bringing in Raichu. A Nidoqueen pivot gets me an easy surf in the Bayleaf with Cherry Berry, so I can cycle Synthesis and Giga Drain to outlast Raichu. Finally, we have Stantler. I keep Bayleaf in to eat a Hypnosis so Feraligatr can keep its Chesto Berry upon switch-in. This works perfectly, and Stantler wastes a Hypnosis, allowing me to cleanly submission twice. We're going to Whitney. Let's go. All right. At least if I wipe now, I can wipe with my dignity that I didn't die to gym trainers. Let's go. Demon back-to-back's done with no deaths in the gym. It's time for the big boss lady herself. You know her well, and this is the scariest she's ever been. Since I didn't manage to get a Quagsire, I have no reliable Nidoqueen answers and have to YOLO something. Chansey and Clefable have annoying RNG sets. Apom hits like a truck with its buffed up Ambipom stats. Girafarig has great stats at this point and a nasty mixed attacking set. And finally, Miltank, while lacking rollout, is as menacing as ever. I lead the charge with a Cherry Berry for Alligator. Bubble Beam is a 3-hit KO due to Nidoqueen's Citrus Berry. And if even a single Thunder Punch crits, I'm losing the Gator for sure. I clutch up in the club, dodging every para and crit, and Feraligatr pulls it off. Chansey's next, and we know it'll always Seismic Toss into Gator since it's on death's door. I go Ledian and Toxic Chansey to make its insane bulk more manageable. Now, the real fun begins. Enter Haunter. All Chansey can do to Spooky Boy is Attract and Thunder Wave. The name of the game here is to keep clicking attacks and trigger the random AI after 4 turns. From here, Chansey can stay in and slowly perish to Toxic or switch out. Chansey finally bails and Big Milky hits the stage. I make an almost fatal mistake choosing Fire Punch, as the 10% chance to burn Miltank is terrible because I need to paralyze it later on. No burn procs though, and I'm always dead to Earthquake. This is perfect. Now, I switch to Togetic with a Cherry Berry to eat the incoming Body Slam and get a guaranteed Thunder Wave off to gain speed control. Having a female Togetic is a bonus here, since Miltank will never use Attract to make things awkward. Now I can pivot Haunter on the Body Slam and bait Earthquake back in the Togetic and Encore. From here, I just spam Seismic Toss with the option to refresh Encore if needed, and the demon goes down easily. Chansey comes back out, so it's Haunter time again. One key note here is that in Gen 2, after a Toxic Pokemon switches out, status reverts to regular poison damage for the remainder of the battle. This time, the AI never switches, and Chansey stays in to die slowly. Next, Magcargo sits nice and comfy, tanking Aipom Shadow Ball, cycling Recover and Flamethrower for an easy matchup. This is a perfect sequence as we always bait Girafarig for Earthquake and can go into Fearow with no risk. Fearow tanks a Psybeam, dodging the crit, and 2 Tri-Attacks does the trick. All that remains now is Clefable, and I still have Cherry Berry for Thunder Punch Paralysis risks. Clefable gets the same Recover Flamethrower treatment as Aipom got, and that's an easy deathless victory over the toughest fight in the Crystal Kaizo Plus early game. Dude, that was so free! Let's go! Let's go, baby. Woo! It's simply too clean. So I go cry a little baby. With Whitney dealt with, you're probably thinking we get a break. What if I told you Morty is even worse, with a full kit of RNG insanity and really scary Pokemon? Route 35 needs to be cleared to gain entry to the national park. Since I have a Slowpoke, the Good Rod guarantees me a Poliwhirl or Wooper. Later in the split, Ecruteak City Fishing with a Good Rod offers the same options. This means I'm guaranteed both of these very important Pokemon if I delay the encounters until I get the Good Rod post Morty. This is a fine trade-off as neither location has any incredibly game-changing Morty options for my particular box. The route starts with a back-to-back, and this one was pretty easy after dealing with Whitney's gym. Fire Breather Walt, however, gives me a bit of trouble with his Dunsparce and Tangela. In this game, Tangela is Omega buffed with near legendary stats aside from its speed. After Feraligatr beats Magcargo, I pivot Ninetales into Rhyhorn, into Meganium to trade Body Slams and wear it out. Meganium finally gets paralyzed for keeps, but Haunter can now come in on a Body Slam to claim a kill with Ice Punch. Dunsparce gets really awkward, and my best out ends up being risking crits on Feraligatr to get 2 submissions in for a pretty sloppy finish. There's another back-to-back that is easy compared to Walt, but the next back-to-back afterwards is a bit strange. Bugcatcher Arnie leads with a level 80 Weedle. Yeah, it's a Weedle, but I still have to play around the level gap carefully. Ninetales swaps into Absorb and Flamethrowers twice after taking some pretty hefty damage from Poison Stings. A level 80 Caterpie is next, and it can only use Absorb on Haunter who resists it and Fire Punches until the deed is done. We led with Feraligatr against Arnie to be in position to submission Granbull without having to switch in and take damage. Granbull crits me with Headbutt, and I answer back with a huge crit submission. Next, Nidoqueen tanks a Rock Slide and starts body slamming Machoke, fishing for paralyzed procs. What happens next is devastating. If I actually have to hit a range here, I'm only dead to crit, so I say only. We got it though. Oh, come on. Oh no, please. Losing the rare and unique toolkit of a Ghost at this point of the game really hurts the health of the run. It's extra salt in the wound considering Gengar is my favorite Pokemon. Meganium cleans up to bait out Arcanine for a Flamethrower into Magcargo for Recover Rock Slide cycles. I make the shocking discovery that I'm completely out of Recover PP. Due to my blunder, I have to YOLO Magcargo anyways, and Old Reliable clutches it out so the run can live on. The Bugcatcher Wayne incident earlier in the run and the sloppy planning for this fight were big wake-up calls to tighten it up and pay closer attention to the details. I enter the national park and pick up a Psyduck encounter and get ready to clear the trainers on the path to Route 36 and 37. The park is generally chill with just a handful of notable scaries. Schoolboy Jack has a self-destruct Quillfish lead that kills all my Pokemon if it goes boom. I end up running a cheeky Quick Claw Ampharos, miss the Quick Claw, but the Puffer behaves and takes the Thunder Punch like a good boy. Last, Chris has a Berserk Gene Primeape that will certainly claim souls if you don't one-shot it. Luckily, my Fearow has the sauce. Getting Fearow in safely on Primeape, however, is almost impossible, so I have to finesse it. Meganium Giga Drain Sandslash into kill range. I pivot for Alligator on the reversal and Fearow kills Sandslash as it pops out. Now, Primeape comes out and I'm positioned to Wing Attack, 1-tap, before it can wreak havoc with its boost. The rest of the area is a literal stroll in the park and I make it to the other side to Route 36. Since this route connects to Violet City, there's no new encounters here. So I run through a few easy trainers and squirt some water on a weird looking tree blocking my way. Wow, it's actually a Sudowoodo, so I just run away and leave it alone. Phasing into Route 37 means it's encounter time. There's a few fights to deal with first, with a funny battle against 2 Smeargles, with really insane sets courtesy of Sketch. Despite the hard-hitting moves in their arsenals, they're still Smeargles, so their stats are too dog water to pose a real threat. I advance my headbutt table further and snag a massive pickup in Pineco, granting me access to my first Steel-type, Fortress. After the long journey, I finally make it to the beautiful Ecruteak City. Remember, we are delaying this encounter for the Good Rod, so I take a quick detour back to Goldenrod to pick up an Eevee from Bill, which would be a future Umbreon later in the run. Next, I head east of Ecruteak to Route 42. I'm posed with a bit of a tough choice here. Raticate is an incredible bring for the Morty fight, and the nice chances at Zubat or Golbat are really nice too, since Crobat is incredible. I really need to continue progressing my headbutt list though, so I go tree shaking and land the huge Heracross, which means I just need Execute to close out the roster of the best headbutt encounters. Since I have the Krabby dupe, Rock Smashing in the Burnt Tower now guarantees me a Shuckle, aka the Great Wall of Crystal Kaizo Plus. This will be an essential bring for Morty. Now it's time for another fight with our friendly neighborhood rival. I'm gonna be honest, the team you're up against with a Chikorita start is absolutely disgusting. Octillery has no guaranteed counters due to Bright Powder, and an insanely buffed signature move. Octazooka now has 95 base power, 100% accuracy, and a 50% chance to lower your accuracy. The Octopus had me terrified going into this fight. I once again also feel the pain of missing a Quagsire to handle Typhlosion. I'm gonna have to rely on Shuckle to take this monster down. Golduck Ice Punches as Dragonair Thunder Waves into my Cherry Berry, freeing me up to Ice Punch again and kill. Next, Victory Bell Petal Dances into my Fearow swap and I Drill Peck for a KO. Now it's Demon time. Ampharos switches into Ice Beam and hits a Thunder Punch through the Bright Powder on Octillery. Octazooka does score an accuracy drop, and I have to switch off Ampharos. Luckily, Golduck eats and doesn't get dropped, which allows me to headbutt for the finisher. So far, so good. Ninetales shrugs off a Hidden Power Bug from Scizor and melts it with Flamethrower. I send Meganium into Hitmonlee's Earthquake, and while my original plan was to get Fearow in, I realize there are overlapping damage rolls, so this is too risky. Meganium, however, 1v1s easily thanks to the fat Giga Drain heals. Finally, we have Typhlosion to contend with. Ninetales soaks a Flamethrower, baiting an Earthquake into Shuckle, which is favorable. Knowing Shuckle can't solo Typhlosion, I first set up a String Shot to speed control for my partners later. And then I set up shop with Sandstorm to start getting some chip damage. Shuckle lobs the assist to Meganium by disabling Flamethrower. Meganium now walls and outspeeds Typhlosion. Disable, unfortunately, ends early, but Golduck can come into Flamethrower and hit a fast Bubble Beam KO thanks to Shuckle's String Shot speed drop earlier. Now it's on to the 4th gym. Morty's gym is dark and scary, and the trainers are as brutal as you'd expect. Medium Grace and Medium Martha are a soul-crushing back-to-back that gatekeep many runners' dreams of even fighting Morty. First order, we have Sage Ping. His Unknown has pretty nice moves, but my shiny new Fortress gets a 3-hitter pin missile and claims. Magmar gets absolutely rocked by the usual Magcargo recover rock slides, and Meganium tanks a Corsola Waterfall and claps back with Giga Drain. Nidoqueen fishes for Body Slam paralyzes on Golbat, scoring none, but still winning the matchup. I do have to get a bit risky with Haunter, and Ninetales sturdies up despite missing a helpful Bite Flinch. Now we have to deal with the Grace and Martha back-to-back. I lead Magcargo with Feraligatr, Meganium, Shuckle, Slowbro, and Umbreon in the back. Magcargo's Chesto Berry gets blown immediately by Hypnosis, and I have to swap into Meganium since Magcargo can't afford to be asleep for the rest of the fight. Noctowl spams Nightshade, and I can Body Slam it down while staying healthy with Synthesis. Rapidash, as with most fire types we've seen, gets rocked by Magcargo easy peasy. This is why I needed it awake, since I had no other solid answers. Shuckle then string shots Persian so Feraligatr can outspeed and get its submissions in for the win. Next, Grace leads with Ninetales, which means I'm perfectly positioned and Magcargo can do its thing. Psychic gets the unfortunate special defense drop on me, so I have to bring in Slowbro to safely finish off the Fox. Umbreon handles Xatu, but first I go into Shuckle to string shot and give Umbreon speed control. Umbreon gets back in on a Psychic freebie and can bite twice to kill. Finally, Magcargo walls the Clefable set, so I can comfortably give it the usual business with recovers and flamethrowers. At this point, if I got a new subscriber every time I won a matchup with Magcargo recover spam, I'd have my 100k subscriber play button from YouTube on the way to my mailbox. Just one more fight before Morty. Magcargo eats a Steel Wing and one-shot Skarmory with Flamethrower. I plan to beat Chansey with the usual Magcargo special, but I struggle to break through its bulk and leftovers recovery. I steer into Meganium to set up Poison Powder and nullify the lefties. Worrying about the threat of getting hit with Toxic, I bring in Fortress to finish off Chansey with Pin Missile. Mantine can't do much to Slowbro here, so I let it get its Confuse Rays off and wear it down enough for Ampharos to always kill with Thunder Punch. And with that, we've made it to Morty. I hope you like rolling the dice, because Morty's team is packed with RNG checks, with every Pokemon having at least one status-inflicting move. Crobat outspeeds everything in my box. Umbreon's tankiness and Moonlight Recovery make it a formidable wall to break, and Gengar is a threat I simply lack any concrete answers to. If Whitney was the Cerberus guarding the gates of hell, then Morty is Lucifer himself. I start off with several pivots on my EXP-edged Pokemon to guarantee a few level-ups after First Blood. Meganium baits Confuse Ray into Fortress, Fortress baits Shadow Ball into Fearow, and Fearow baits a Sludge Bomb back into Fortress. Now it's time to sturdy up and fight. Crobat Confuse Rays me, and knowing I bait Shadow Ball, I pivot back into Fearow and purge the confusion. Knowing that the 4-turn timer for random moves is imminent since Crobat is dealing no damage, I come to a realization I may be able to abuse this mechanic to my advantage. Due to Fortress's tankiness, I'd rather switch into an attack than deal with Confuse Ray coin flips, so I continue the pivot cycles, going for attacks whenever I get any openings. Or no, I went Berry Juice, didn't I? Yeah. Okay, not a great start. Oh, come on, man. Let's try to hit through it again. After 3 confused self-hits and just 1 headbutt through the RNG, I've lost a deadly amount of tempo, and Morty switches into Gengar as Fortress self-hits yet again. This is already looking really bad. Gengar sees a kill with Fire Punch, so I swap over to Magcargo to Soak. Reminder here that Hypnosis is 70% accurate. Gengar lands it, and I trade my Chesto Berry for some Flamethrower Chip. Next, I switch the Shuckle. Gengar claims another Chesto Berry, and I string shot it to slow it down so Umbreon can kill with Bite. I'm still severely outpaced on resources and tempo. Crobat shows its ugly face again, and I get Fortress back in on a Sludge Bomb. I run the same pivots as earlier to refresh Confuse, and I net out with 3 landed headbutts through all the Confuse Rays. This is much better, but Morty withdraws Crobat again and swaps in Misdreavus. Keep in mind that in this game, Misdreavus is buffed to Miss Maggie's stats. Umbreon takes 2 Nightshades, getting in a bite for a bit of damage. The next Nightshade will be fatal, so I bring out Magcargo and Morty hits another Hypnosis. With my Chesto Berry already eaten, I'm not keen on keeping the snail in, as I need it for later. Misdreavus sees overlapping Nightshade and Thunderbolt damage rolls, and Fearow is only dead to a Thunderbolt crit while killing Missy with Drill Peck. The odds to pull off this play are highly in my favor. Yeah, I think we have to start taking drastic measures. I think I gotta go Fearow and pray for the Nightshade here. Yep. We can't play safe anymore. And it hits the crit. Yeah, this is probably a wipe. Alright, let's see what we can do. With Fearow out of commission, I've lost my speedy Revenge Killer to clean up any chipped down ops, and I still need an answer to Misdreavus. Of course, Misdreavus hits another Hypnosis, and Meganium goes into deep hibernation. I have no other plays but to stay in. We literally have to hit the next one. I mean, I don't think I have any other plays. We stay Meganium here, right? Bridge. Okay, huge. And Meganium Giga Clutches it at the final hour to wake up and heal enough to land a Poison Powder and nullify leftovers. Deja Vu kicks in, and we see a repeat of the Big Sleep. Once again, I have no choice but to stay and go for it. I think we just gotta run this. Alright, huge wake up here. Okay. All right. Okay. Yo, I finally get an opening to shift to offense and Giga Drain. Stop it. How many times can Meganium clutch up here? Like how many, like realistically, dude, it's done it twice already. Missy takes me back out to the dance floor for another gut-wrenching RNG tango. Meganium's luck finally runs its course, and I finish off Miss Drevis with Umbreon. I have to go Magcargo for Crobat, but she never wakes up, and Crobat claims a soul. Fortress gets 2 desperate headbutts off, but it simply isn't enough, and Crobat takes another. Umbreon finally beats the bat with a quick attack before getting finished off by Stantler. Finally, Shuckle sets up Sandstorm and Wrap to go out with dignity before Stantler puts it down, ending my first run of Crystal Kaizo Plus. Let's give it up for attempt 1. Woo! I really like the CK Plus community. It's super chill. Big fan. All right, level cap 16. Oh, it's going to feel good to see 0 in the deaths again. Bah! That's great. That's beautiful. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Feel free to come hang out on my live streams at twitch.tv/Moxie. I'm currently on attempt 2 of this game, and I'm past Whitney again, chasing revenge against Morty. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Catch you on the other side.